chase him for a 1v1, you can finally get a battle.
I'm in forced march. I can't engage.
Don't worry, Muck, I got him!
The screaming
he's really obese.
Hit auto resolve before he can escape.
We got him on the ropes
All
now,
right,
Muck.
let's go. Okay. Hopefully next time something interesting happens.
All this time trying to get a manual battle for Muck and he chooses to auto, I'm actually disappointed in this man.
Yeah.
I thought we were about to close the game.
I can't believe you just autoed it after all that.
I can't believe you assassinated Lexi's guy after agreeing to a thing.
Oh god, I'm leaving!
Didn't deserve it.
Get him, Lexi.
Thank you for your support, Muck.
You're welcome. I'm counting up how long we've been in this campaign. We're right at 24 hours now, and I've done one battle with Mazdamundi. Just fun facts for everybody.
Can we make this the new Bretonia? I'll meet you there.
So soon I'll get my second
I
battle
haven't
where I can learn how to play this frog.
Welcome to multiplayer Total War Warhammer.
Yeah, thank you for the warning.
This is our Bretonia. I'll meet you there.
I will say, I'm going to throw this out there. We got through over 40 turns in one day in one of our campaigns because everybody just like ran around their local area doing their autoing stuff. A huge part of the reason this took so long is the invasion of Ulthuan.
Yes.
Like that drastically slowed down the pace of the campaign because falling back and recovering afterwards for all three players involved and pushing the game back 10 turns has changed it dramatically. So not saying you did anything wrong.
That's because I didn't.
Saying that
you put me in a box, I pushed on the side of the box.
Yeah, I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I'm just saying in normal circumstances in a campaign, we'd be fighting by now. These are the consequences of your actions, Muck.
We were fighting then! You wanted me to stop!
I didn't want you to stop! I wanted to keep going and burn Mitch to the ground. You just kept backing up and leaving me to die.
That happened one time, and then Mitch did
Twice.
what we have since coined the Mitch Special, which he did again 30 minutes ago.
Listen, I don't care where anyone's standing tomorrow. I'm feeding the bears. I don't care what city you're on, what team you're on. At this point, I'm feeding the bears.
Lexi, you come straight at me. I will stand there and take it. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I'll probably die to Slaanesh right after, but it will be glorious, and I will finally have a good memory of
meet
this.
you there.
Chat saying, would have been faster to start a new campaign after all.
You want to start over?
All right. Well, I get where you're coming from because for me, the heart of this game is the manual battles. I love fighting out the battles more than anything else, which is why I'm willing to be patient through a day or two of setup first, because I've seen how the end game plays out and I know that it's fun. For those that are impatient or bored, or your viewers are getting bored is even worse, I appreciate your patience and thank you for joining us regardless, even if it's not really what you were expecting. We're probably never getting Muck in another campaign, but I hope today was at least slightly more entertaining. I tried to urge people along with turn times. I separated the teams so that we could talk more, so that you'd at least get to hear some strategy conversation instead of just staring at the dark fog.
Today was more entertaining than yesterday. I still wish I'd seen battles. That is true. I stand by that. But today, you did do much better than yesterday.
I don't blame you for wanting more battles. I want more battles too. I think the thing is, like, this ain't my first rodeo. This is like the 10th or 12th. It's like the 10th or 12th campaign that we've done. And the reason that I am running things the way that I am is so that we can get the big fun battles at the end. Because in our previous campaigns, there's a whole lot of like circling around and stalling and hiding in ambush stance and stuff like that. And that's why I set up this thing where it's like, just run around and auto your starting area and then come to the objective zone and fight. And normally that's done a lot quicker. It's done a lot quicker. This one was just kind of an exception in the sense that the situation with the early invasion of another player put a lot of us into an awkward spot. But yeah, I don't know. This is the best solution that I have found to get you what you are looking for, Muck, which is manual battles, because it's the same thing that I want. It's just what happens is, if it looks like a losing battle, if you're playing single player, you would play it out manually because you think you can outplay the AI. But in these campaigns, if it looks like a losing battle, you don't dare do it because the other team would jump in and take over the units. So there's actually more autoing in these campaigns than there is in a single player campaign. It becomes even more auto battle because you don't want another player sabotaging you. You know how bad it can be if you get like a loss in like the first 10 turns, and a huge early setback can cripple your growth and your economy early.
Right.
So nobody wants to take that risk, so they won't manual it. I tried a couple of different iterations of the rules to encourage more early manual battles, but frankly, nothing worked because no one wants to take the risk of getting crippled early. So they would just hide and run around until they could get a successful auto. So that's
purely out of curiosity, because this is my first multiplayer game. Is there a setting anywhere where you can make it to where other players don't take control of the AI, and then you could like turn that off and on like at certain parts of the game?
So we could, but at that point, so I did try a variation on this where it's like you're only allowed to control the AI armies if you're allied with them or something like that. But then the problem was people would manual too much. It'd be like, oh, I'm gonna lose my 1 unit of halberds, so I'm gonna fight this. And it's like, bro, you could just you could recruit another one next turn. You're wasting so much time. Or people trying to like min max their army performance and stuff like that. So we got, once the threat of other players was removed, people would just waste time manualing against the computer while the rest of us twiddle our thumbs for 20 minutes while you fight a battle that you could have just re-recruited the archer.
So if someone is manualing against the computer, the rest of the people are not able to keep doing their thing? Like they can't manual their own computers somewhere else?
If you start a manual battle, everyone has to spectate. There's no way to have like a whole battle simulated.
Honestly, I wasn't sure if they could hit decline or something.
No. If you start a battle, everyone gets dragged in to spectate it. So that turns into a massive time waster as well. With people manualing fights that they didn't need to manual. So I've actually seen the rules for another campaign. There was one group that doesn't allow manuals at all except against other players. So if auto says you lose, you're not even allowed to attempt to fight it. You would just have to accept the auto because you're not allowed to fight the AI until like you just have to go fight the other players instead. Which honestly, maybe I should consider that in future campaigns. But yeah, ultimately, I wanted more manual battles. Every attempt at changing the rules to encourage more manual battles just resulted in players finding a way to avoid losses until they had a successful auto. And finally, that's when I said, all right, well, let's just do this. I'm going to set an objective zone in the middle. You can run around and kill all the AI near you, auto your way through it, get here as quick as you can, and then we fight. And with an experienced group playing ideally, it takes like a day and a half. You know, we got through like 55 turns in 2 days with one group because everyone was veteran players. Now, granted, this is a little different because you got stuck with a faction in a really bad spot and probably a faction you haven't practiced much, if at all.
I never played it.
Yeah, so this is like, this campaign is not a good reflection of how these usually play out. Because everybody was in weird or awkward spots playing factions they aren't good with, except Mitch, who is secretly, you know, an Enkari specialist practicing day in and day out with his thousands of hours of Enkari and his multiple wins on Legendary that you will not talk me out of.
Never played past turn 20.
But yeah, so it's usually not this. So we usually get into the meat of the fighting a lot sooner. This campaign was just hampered by people having slower starts, crappy factions, and then early PvP crippling or slowing down multiple players. Usually we get into the fighting sooner than this, so I apologize for inviting you to a weird meme campaign because I feel like you didn't get, you and your audience didn't get a good first impression of this because I pulled you into this weird nonsense. I feel like if you'd just been able to pick your preferred faction and play the game normally, we would probably already be fighting by now, and you'd also be 1,000, times richer. You'd probably have an actual economy. So yeah, my bad. I hope you're having fun regardless, but this is also like a results not typical sort of situation.
No, you're fine. I don't envy all of the rule mongering you're having to do. I realize that you're having to like tweak and tweak and tweak to try to make this work, and I do appreciate that. Yeah, tonight was more fun than yesterday. Yesterday, just for our chats to know what we talked about, and I'll keep it vague. I basically told him, I was like, hey, dude, you guys are awesome. I love hanging out with you guys, but my turns are so fast. And maybe it's because I'm stupid, and I'm bad at the game, and I'm just not, min-maxing everything. And it's partly because my economy was crippled. But my turns are quick, and then I'm waiting on you guys. And my allies cannot ally with me because of various mechanics, so I cannot get map vision. So I'm literally just in a corner staring at Fog of War and listening to Discord. And during the 6-hour game we had yesterday, about 4.5 hours of it was waiting. And I was just like, this was not great for the show. And there was no battles. There wasn't a single battle. At this point, we have been in this game for 24 hours, and there's been, I think, 2 manual battles. And I've gotten to play Mazdamundi in one. So I would be lying if I said I was not disappointed that I wish there was more fighting after 24 hours. But I am in it for the long haul. I am going to stick this one to the end. And, I was hoping for battles tonight. I'm hoping for battles tomorrow. So we'll see what happens.
I appreciate your patience and taking it on the chin with how rough around the edges this campaign has been. It was born from like a meme idea in my Discord of, yeah, well, what if your opponent picked your faction? And then I just said, let's roll with it. And we just started it up without putting a whole ton of thought into it. And it's definitely created more weird situations than I'm used to. If it makes you feel any better, our last campaign was concluded with a massive 4v4 underway battle where 80 units were on each side of the field in a tunnel battle, running at each other and just mosh pitting their faces into each other. So we do get some gigantic spectacle battles. It just takes a while. I think a key part of it is that you need to have your army of roughly equal strength to the enemy, or they will simply run away from you. It's just like fighting the AI. Like, we pretend that humans are smarter than AI, but the reality is we act like the AI does. If you play the game on very hard or legendary, if the AI looks at your army and they're stronger than you, or sorry, you are stronger than the AI, they just run away and they sit just outside your movement range, and it turns out it's like no different from players. So like if it looks like a losing battle, we just run away. So I would say, if you have a completely unbeatable army or lord or whatever, maybe scale it down a little so you're not scaring the opponent off, and then more fights will happen. And Kari.
Compared to the entire armies of Crushers right now?
I feel like the entire army of Crushers is in response to a Sword of Cain, crown-wearing Enkari.
Mukluk, I would just, FYI, we still have, what turn did we end on? 64, 65?
Something like that.
Just putting it out there, there's still 20 turns left. So I would.
Are you threatening me right now?
No, I'm just letting you know that there might not be battles tomorrow.
It's
a possibility, right now. And I'm trying to mentally prepare you for it.
Good night, Bomb. I'm
just stressed out to fight right now, like in real life.
Okay, all right. I have left the Discord call. With that, chat, I am going to just leave them with that and let their chat laugh at the fact that I just left the channel. It is a fun game. This game is a fun game, and honestly, this is making me itch to play it, single player again, where I can just blast through the turns. Like, to give you guys an example, the stegodons, the triceratops looking things, they have ballistas on their back. I didn't know those could break through walls. So if you're sieging a city, you don't have to go for the gates, which is what 90% of the factions have to do. You can just pick a section of wall and fire triceratops mounted ballistas at the wall, and eventually it bursts inward. And if there's troops on the other side, they get hit by the rubble, and you can break in. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. But yeah, I'm honestly, after this whole thing is done, I might do another campaign of like one of those guys, because if you're playing single, you're almost never waiting, which I don't mind losing a game in this, and that's what I think a lot of them don't understand. Is back when I was stuck fighting Slaanesh on like turn 20 or 30 or whatever it was, when I got forced into that battle, they were trying to bail me out to make sure that they had a 3v3 later. I was willing to accept, I'm in a bad spot, I'm gonna fight to go out in a blaze of glory, I will die, and then maybe I get invited back to another game. Like, I was okay and willing to accept that I might die there, But instead, they put me on like life support, and even the enemy was feeding me money, which it just didn't feel good. I was just like, is this Warhammer? This is like, is this Peace Hammer? What is this? In any, a lot of people enjoy the late game armies against late game enemies. You could still have that. Like, you can absolutely still have that. Like, I got an ultimate campaign victory the other day with Changeling on turn 120. And let me tell you, on turn 120, you have a lot of armies. But again, you're never waiting because I'm moving everything constantly. We're moving all over the place. So, yeah. Honestly, in my opinion, the early game where you're doing all the battles manual is like the funnest part, because in the late game when you get a Doom stack, you're can often auto like everything. And this is almost the opposite of that. They want to get strong enough that you auto all of our early stuff so that you can get strong enough to manual the other players later on. But yeah, anyway, I'm kind of talking in circles, but yeah, I did have fun. I appreciate Fairlight hearing me out on like how much of a disaster the show was last time, and he made an effort to like include me in the voice comms and stuff like that so that we could get more information on what was happening, and I tried to show Fairlight stream from time to time. But yeah, we will pick it up from here next time.